Hello everyone, I am Trevor, I go by TheMrTrails, welcome to the channel. Today's video we are going to be talking Shrowd effigies in the Dark Harvest events. First off, we'll be taking a look at an efficient route that you can go effigy farming with, and then we are going to talk about everything that is wrong with the effigy system and pretty much need to change before next year. Drop a like for me guys, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and head over to the Twitch and drop a follow over there because I will likely be doing some bonus streams here because there is quite a bit of demand for the Dark Harvest Crown help. And even if you don't need help, I'd really appreciate you stopping by, saying hello. And I should plug this more often, but if you want notifications for both Twitch and YouTube in the same place, then you can head to the Discord server in the description. So let's first walk through a route to farming effigies, and for no particular reason I chose the Blazeworks, but this is actually a very solid island to do this on. Alrighty guys, like my fashion by the way, you know, I think it's very festive for our Dark Harvest season that we got going on here. This was kind of just a joke over on the Twitch. But alright, here we go. You are obviously going to start off at the beginning of the island here, and the first location we are is going to be looking directly ahead of us right here. This is going to be one location for the Shrowd effigies, and you can just quickly look over here. If it's there, then you go kill it. One unfortunate thing is that only one location will spawn at a time, and then you just re-queue the island as soon as you find it, basically. But yeah, we'll be looking right over to the right here to start us off, and then we'll be moving on to the next location, where you can kind of see it sometimes here. It's going to be around right here, and it's not there right now. Well, that was a massive skill issue. Don't know how I missed that, but, you know. But to double check, it'll be literally right here, like this big area right here. And then our third location is going to be right here, right over here. It's going to be literally standing right about here. And then one thing I like to do here is I'll throw a lantern down right there. See if this snail was in the spawn location, then he would have died. But I've actually gotten 2 levels on my warp pike doing this testing. Like 2 full levels. And you can see our 4th location right over here. So we will fly over here and destroy this effigy. This is our 4th location. Oh, actually, we might have a failure here if this is a treat. And it's a trick. We will talk about that momentarily. But I have noticed a trend in the failures. So that is our 4th location. If it is not there, then, you know, you just kind of look right here. You can see, all right, it's not there. So we'll hit this vent. And then we'll fly up here, and then the 5th location, you can kind of see it when you're flying up here, right around here. This is where the 5th location would be, but obviously it's not there because we already destroyed our effigy on this island. And then our 6th location is going to be right here. It's going to be standing right here, basically centered on me right now. And if all 6 of those are busts, then there's one final location back here, and this is going to be the 7th location. Kind of easy one to miss because it's kind of behind all of the trees here. Can't really see the other spawn location over there. But yeah, right here is where our final location would be. And as far as I could tell, these are the only 7 locations here on the Blazeworks. And you can do this rather quickly. I guess I'll go ahead and do a time to just, you know, do the checks for each location. And then another area I like to hit for, like, obviously I'll open the patrol keys in this loading time here, usually. But another thing I'll do, like, if my effigy's right here, I will come over here, activate these Grooks, plop the lantern down. And if I wasn't interested in the snails, like say you already have all of your reforges that you want, then you will not. Okay, so this was about 53 on my recording. So we're looking. It's not there. It's not there. Wow, it's actually at the back. So this was actually a very good representation of our, like, worst case scenario. And this only took about 20 seconds to get here. Oh, nice failure. Great, fantastic. Take note. That was next to the combat area with an active behemoth in it. So, yeah. So, yeah, it only took about 20 seconds to do a run-through of all of the locations. And our best case scenario would be, you see it right there, you get there in like 6 seconds or something. It's at this one again. Okay, let's try to coax a failure again, just to double check that this is really our issue. Oh. Bloodshot Shroud doesn't care, I guess. Oh wait, now it does. What the hell? Huh, that's weird. He suddenly has interest as soon as I attacked that thing. Alright, here's this one. This is a decent, like, average one then. So this takes about, what, 13 seconds to hit here? Probably on average, you're hitting around 16, 17 seconds of actual running time and then destroying the thing. One tip I definitely have for these things is the Valimir unique effect is definitely the meta for breaking these things open. As you can see, my pike is basically insta-breaking it with the heavy attack. So yeah, Valimir unique effect, and then I'm running a fairly high move speed build. It's by no means the max move speed that we can get in the game, but it's, you know, it's not fleet-footed. It's just our, like, maximum, just basic foot speed build, so to speak. And there's an unseen beacon, so yes, this quest is possible, for the record. And at 5, go. Yep, right there. Ooh. I guess the longest amount of time is actually committing to the spot once you find it. So yeah, that's the route for that. Very simple and basic. It takes like 25 seconds worst case scenario once you get used to it. And unfortunately, you might have to get used to it because there is a quest involving these effigies. And there are multiple issues with these effigies that just cause this to be a bigger pain in the ass than it has to be. So as I said in my routing, I did gain 2 full levels on my warpike doing this route. It definitely wasn't fast if you were wondering, but I put my sanity on the line in the name of science. I endured through about 80 effigies, taking me about an hour and a half to get through all of them with all of the loading time, as well as the miscellaneous stuff that I was doing. And let's throw in the extra 5 that I did in explaining the routing. So I have a sample of 85 effigies that I recorded the results for, and I've opened probably around 140 at this point, between what I did on the test server and what I did for my actual account. So let's talk about our data and talk about our very first problem. It seems we are supposed to have a 50-50 split between tricks and treats. However, there's an additional chance that your treat just straight up disappears, making for an additional trick, if you will. Over the course of these 85 results, 12 of them failed, and I've probably had about 20 fail on me overall. Now, I don't think we would be concerned if it were the tricks failing here, because, you know, that is kind of a trick. Expect something and get nothing, except these failures are specifically happening to treats. And as you might imagine, this is largely skewing our treat data. So much so, I don't even know if we have all of the possible treats represented in the results. We'll get to those results in a second, but what do I think is causing this? It actually looks to be a combination of things or something very specific, because I have narrowed down a couple of correlations. There's one specific spot on this island that has a very bad track record of not giving me the treats, being the 5th spot I showed on the route, being on the rightmost edge of the island, if you will, if you are coming from the entrance. I don't have an exact tally of where all our failures happened, but I do know for a fact that this spot has been the worst offender. I'm pretty sure when I was doing the test server stuff, I got 3 treats in a row at this spot that didn't give me anything. And I know for a fact that the large majority of the treat effigies I did end up getting in my test server access were coming from this spot. So when I was talking about Oz's quests in the update video, this is why I said I don't even know if it's possible, because most of my treat effigies were in this spot. And I hadn't yet found all the locations on the island, so I was running around, sometimes not even getting an effigy, spending again like 45 minutes to an hour just mindlessly walking around on the Blazeworks looking for effigy spots. But perhaps I'm gaslighting this particular spot a bit too much, because there was another correlation. And that was after walking through or very close to certain combat areas that may or may not have had a behemoth involved. And that 5th spot is hands down the easiest to accidentally trigger that entering combat text for. I did specifically say this is a correlation because it can still happen when behemoths aren't there, so perhaps there's even a deeper interaction with just walking next to the combat areas. But I went to such a length describing these failures because yes, it is a pretty pretty big issue here, and I feel like the devs have kind of been downplaying this issue. And again, there are so many failures here skewing our treats results, I'm not sure if I got every treat that's possible, because the Unseen Observer is newer than everything else going in the effigies, but I didn't get a single one of them, so I'm not sure if they just all failed, or if they just aren't in there to begin with. And I'm not sure if the devs have released the odds for these things, and with the sheer amount of failures we had, I can't even give you an estimate for how common the treats are supposed to be. What I can tell you is the treat data that I did get, but just know the sheer amount of failures here is heavily skewing the result. So let's finally talk numbers. I got a total of 1 drop each for the Gift of the Grand Pumpkin and the Be on Your Gourd curiosities. I do believe the pumpkin is supposed to be rarer. If my memory serves me correctly, it's supposed to be an epic curiosity, considering it drops all of the other curiosities that you can get. But as for the Be on Your Gourd, that should probably be the same rate as everything else here. So it was probably due to those failures. The Unseen Beacons, our item that we need for our quest, is supposedly going to be an uncommon drop if we are going based on the coloring schemes of the Part Break Skittles, but I only got 7 drops of those. So this is likely making up a majority of the fails here too. And do note that 2 of those drops were in the final 5 that I did for the route explanation. So we went from 5 out of 80 to 7 out of 82, which is a decent percentage jump from that small sample size. But then I got 8 drops of Sinister Squash and 9 drops of Harvest Coins. And of our 85 documented test birds, I got 48 tricks, which looks to be a straight up 50-50 between the Shrowd clones and Shrowd orbs. And that is going to lead us into our next issue of these drop rates for each specific thing being kinda high-key terrible. And if you were going to make a quest about a specific treat, curiosity that you need to get from these things, then that's even more terrible than telling you to just get a certain amount of curiosities from these things. Like, the quest could have been so many different things. The original design that I have in my Dark Harvest notes said that you needed to destroy 20 effigies, period. While that still would have been annoying for another reason we'll get to, that wouldn't have been nearly as annoying as the one we got. It could have also been something like, get 3 treats out of Shrowd effigies. But we got perhaps the worst version of this. You need a specific treat, and these treats can fail. And it's hard to be happy and festive with these things when there are glaring issues for them. And when these issues just needlessly take up your time when you could be doing something else for the game, I'd say it's a reasonable ask to want something done about this. Even if nothing is done about it right now per se, just, fix them for next year, and, don't design a quest that has a pretty big element of RNG to it, especially if some random, very repeatable bug is going to be affecting the user experience of the quest. I swear to God, I'll stop talking about the bug now, but this final thing is a design decision, and I swear to God, this needs to go. And it's the fact that only 1 effigy spawns on each island, at least on the Blazeworks. This drastically inflates the amount of time that you are spending on this quest, especially if you just get unlucky. Again, I can't give you specific treat ratios because of the data being skewed, but I would estimate anywhere from like a 15 to 20% chance for the beacons to come out of the effigies, period, whether they do end up bugging out or not, that is. Let's say it's a 20% chance and you hit those odds exactly. Even if you instantly pick up my route and follow it very quickly, it would take you through 5 island instances, and that would take about 10 minutes between the loading times, the queuing up for a server times. My lowest estimate for the odds for the beacons is like a 12.5% chance, 1 out of 8. If it's that, then on average, that'll take you 16 to 20 minutes. But let's say every effigy location spawned 1, at a 20% chance, you are very likely to have that within 1 island. And at a 12.5% chance, you are almost guaranteed it by 2 islands. If you think every effigy location spawning 1 makes the quest too easy per se, the quest 3 and 4 in the same exact quest line take like 10 seconds. You don't even have to wait for a hunt queue to finish those quests. But having 7 locations for only 1 of them to spawn something kind of really sucks, especially when they don't regenerate. It'd be one thing if you just like go destroy it and then kill a behemoth and then it's there again, but I would argue most, if not all of those locations should spawn an effigy. And if you don't know the exact spots to look for on each island, then finding these is actually just like finding a shiny Pokemon or something. And the thing is, I brought this sort of situation up a long time ago. Not with the effigies exactly, but with patrol keys. When the hunting grounds came out, there were a few islands that had a 100% spawn rate for the patrol chests. And then I think they realized that and didn't want that to be a thing, so they took that away. But basically the only thing that does is just make you spend more time in loading screens if you're actually looking to open patrol chests. Now sure, the Shrowd effigies are a little bit different. For patrol chests, you already have what you need to open them, so maybe you don't need them all, but at least do more than 1, right? Like with only 1, if you join a public hunt, you're basically never going to find one of these things. But I'd say that's more of an issue of them not respawning than it is of them not being plentiful on the islands. And the worst part about all of this that I have said is none of these on their own is a big issue, but with all of the issues that there are, it just makes it a really bad experience. And I would go as far as to say that effigy hunting is basically the worst thing about Dark Harvest this year. Do you guys agree disagree with me on that, let me know down in the comments. Some of you might look at Bloodshot Shroud being added to the Nevermore difficulty, making a hard task of getting the crown harder. I wouldn't say that's the worst thing about Dark Harvest this year though, and if you are struggling with that, head over to my Twitch. I am helping out with getting the crown over there. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching. Drop a like for me and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I have been Trevor. I go by the Mr. Trails, and I will catch you guys next time.